Welcome back to the Paranormal State, Washington, and UFO UAP. With Makāula Nakae, a lifelong experiencer and ET contactee since 1990. Today's episode, 1970s-80s Ricardo González Corpancho, Peru origins, and the Mission Rahma influence. Ricardo González is formative years. The trajectory of Ricardo González Corpancho cannot be understood without examining the cultural and spiritual landscape of Peru during the 1970s and 1980s. During this era, South America and Peru in particular became a global epicenter for organized consciousness-based contact movements that fundamentally redefined how anomalous phenomena were experienced and interpreted. In 1974, a young Peruvian named Sixto Paz Wells and his associates in Lima captured international attention by claiming systematic, prearranged telepathic contact with extraterrestrial beings who identified themselves as coming from Ganymede. This gave rise to Mission Rahma, an acronym representing love, help, and amity. Unlike the North American contactee movement of the 1950s, which often relied on isolated, spontaneous encounters with Nordic-type beings, the South American model emphasized collective preparation, meditation, fasting, and group mental discipline as the keys to initiating safe, constructive interaction with higher intelligences. This movement sparked a massive wave of public skywatch vigils, especially across the hyper-arid coastal deserts of Peru. It created an entire generation of researchers, writers, and seekers who grew up viewing ufology not just as a mechanical study of flying saucers, but as a spiritual and evolutionary awakening for humanity. Immersed in this vibrant milieu as a young man, González began participating in nocturnal desert vigils, most notably in the legendary Chilca Desert just south of Lima, a site revered by Peruvian ufologists as a primary natural theater for anomalous lights and dimensional portals, xendras. What began as a personal quest for answers rapidly evolved into rigorous field documentation. González transitioned from an active participant in meditation groups to a dedicated chronicler, recording meticulous logs of luminous craft maneuvers, telepathic transmissions, and profound encounters with guiding presences, such as the entity known as Antarol. These formative decades in the Peruvian desert provided González with the first-hand experiential foundation that would later fuel his global career as an author, lecturer, and leading voice in modern Latin American ufology. Ricardo González's extensive body of published books, documentary features, and international lectures breaks away from traditional nuts and bolts ufology and sensationalist flying saucer reports. Instead, his work establishes a deeply interconnected esoteric and multi-dimensional framework that bridges modern anomalies with ancient human history. At the core of Ricardo González Corpancho's ufological philosophy lies a profound challenge to conventional science and traditional nuts and bolts extraterrestrial hypotheses. While mainstream astronomy assumes that any visiting intelligence must cross the staggering physical gulfs of interstellar space using advanced mechanical propulsion or faster-than-light (FTL) engines, González argues that advanced cosmic civilizations have long since moved past such crude limitations. Instead, his research champions an interdimensional and physical synthesis, wherein space, time, and consciousness are mastered through advanced physics and the manipulation of reality itself. In standard astrophysics, traversing light years of cosmic void presents insurmountable energy and time barriers. González points out that advanced spacefaring civilizations do not waste centuries hurtling through the vacuum of space in metallic rockets. Instead of conquering space by moving faster through it, these intelligences conquer distance by bending, folding, or bypassing standard spacetime altogether. This perspective shifts the UAP phenomenon from a mechanical transportation problem into an advanced mastery of higher dimensional mechanics, frequency modulation, and quantum topology. Central to González is documentation of the synthesis is the reality of xendras, localized dimensional doorways, or spatial-temporal bubbles. Rather than requiring passengers to endure the physical forces of acceleration, xendras operate at the intersection of advanced technology and human consciousness. González details how extraterrestrial intelligences manipulate local spacetime and mental frequencies, creating a localized energetic bubble. When activated, a xendra allows participants to step physically across a threshold, passing instantaneously from an earthly mountaintop or desert floor into a structured, glowing spacecraft, a subterranean base, or even distant planetary outposts like Ganymede. Crucially, these experiences are not described as passive dreams, hallucinations, or astral projections. Witnesses report retaining their full physical bodies, waking awareness, and sharp sensory faculties while navigating these multi-dimensional transitions. By placing the mechanics of the xendra at the forefront of his work, González bridges the gap between hard science and deep mysticism. He presents a universe where consciousness is not a passive byproduct of biology, but an active fundamental force capable of interacting with hyperdimensional technology, proving that true cosmic exploration requires the evolution of human awareness, just as much as mastery over the fabric of spacetime. Expanding deeply upon the classic contact lore, pioneered by movements like Mission Rahma, Ricardo González Corpancho's body of work challenges the traditional astronomical view of our solar system as a collection of dead, barren rocks and gas giants. Instead, his research frames our cosmic neighborhood as a living, inhabited theater of advanced civilization and active interplanetary stewardship. Mainstream astronomy teaches that Earth is likely an isolated oasis of life in a vast, silent cosmos. In stark contrast, South American contactee traditions, bolstered by González, is extensive fieldwork. Maintain that intelligent life is not only abundant across the galaxy, but actively embedded right here in our own solar system. Through decades of channeled data, direct contactee testimonies, and field research, González emphasizes that various planetary bodies within our system serve as homes, monitoring stations, or waypoints for a confederation of benevolent space civilizations. At the core of this intersolar system framework is Jupiter's largest moon, Ganymede, which González highlights as a vital operational hub. Ganymede is described not merely as a temporary camp, but as a heavily fortified, permanent deep space logistics base, monitoring hub, and comprehensive ecological seed vault, preserving the biological and historical blueprints of Earth species. González points to Ganymede's unique scientific profile, such as its massive size, thick subsurface liquid oceans, and powerful intrinsic magnetic field, the only moon in the solar system to possess one, as natural advantages that make it an ideal sanctuary, shielded from cosmic radiation and human interference. Operating from these deep space bastions, the hermanos mayores, older brothers, act as patient observers. They quietly monitor Earth's turbulent ecological shifts, geopolitical crises, and evolutionary milestones, safeguarding human evolutionary history and standing ready to assist humanity as our collective consciousness matures toward cosmic citizenship. The cornerstone of Ricardo González Corpancho's decades of field research and international expeditions is the concept of sacred geography, the idea that the Earth is not a uniform, homogeneous ball of rock, but a living, highly structured planetary organism interwoven with energetic pathways and power nodes. Instead of studying UFO sightings in isolation from ancient history or geology, González treats the physical landscape itself as an active participant in human evolution and cosmic contact. González's fieldwork has taken him across continents to investigate renowned high-energy zones. Key locations include the high Andean peaks of Cusco, the sacred high-altitude waters of Lake Titicaca on the Peru-Bolivia border, Mount Shasta in California, a critical junction in the broader Pan-American contact network, and remote megalithic ruins around the globe. Rather than relying solely on theoretical texts or second-hand accounts, González and his fellow researchers conduct hands-on nocturnal vigils, meditation sessions, and geological surveys at these specific sites, frequently documenting anomalous luminous phenomena and experiencing spatial distortions firsthand. Within González's framework, sacred sites function much like acupuncture points along a living meridian system. These geographic nodes possess unique electromagnetic properties, heightened tectonic activity, and mineral compositions that naturally lower the barrier between physical reality and higher dimensions. According to this perspective, ancient civilizations did not build their temples, pyramids, and sacred cities in random locations. They possessed an advanced, intuitive understanding of these planetary power nodes. Consequently, these sites represent the ultimate convergence zones where human history lost civilizations. Cosmic contact and active UAP phenomena intersect into a single, unified tapestry, proving that the mysteries of our past and the anomalies of our skies are intimately bound to the very ground we walk upon. Ricardo González Corpancho's evolution from a dedicated local field researcher in Peru into an internationally recognized voice in global ufology underscores the growing demand for frameworks that transcend traditional, fragmented approaches to high strangeness. Over decades of fieldwork, writing, and public speaking, González has transitioned from desert vigils in Chilca to international stages across Latin America, the United States, and Europe. He has been featured prominently in alternative media programs, investigative radio broadcasts, and documentary series examining global and South American high strangeness. Rather than presenting isolated sightings, his presentations contextualize anomalous events within a broader spiritual and historical narrative, resonating deeply with audiences seeking holistic explanations for the UAP phenomenon. At the heart of Ricardo González Corpancho's philosophy lies a bold conceptual synthesis: the conviction that ancient history, monumental archaeology, and modern unidentified aerial phenomena are not isolated anomalies but inseparable threads of a single, continuous narrative. While conventional academia and mainstream science strictly segregate ancient mythology from contemporary ufology, González and kindred South American researchers argue that true understanding requires bridging these intellectual silos. Traditional science typically treats ancient petroglyphs and religious texts as primitive attempts by early humans to explain natural phenomena, while treating modern UFO reports as either misidentified aircraft, psychological illusions, or top-secret military hardware. González's work rejects this rigid division. By analyzing ancient Andean architecture, creation myths, and petroglyphs alongside modern contactee accounts of luminous craft, telepathic communication, and dimensional portals, xendras, he posits a profound continuity. The gods of antiquity and the extraterrestrials, or hermanos mayores of modern contact, are expressions of the exact same ongoing interaction between advanced cosmic intelligence and human civilization. Rather than viewing human history as a chaotic, purely accidental series of cultural and technological developments, driven entirely by survival instincts, González presents human civilization as a carefully tended, guided evolutionary trajectory. According to this framework, sacred earth vortexes such as the high peaks of the Andes, Lake Titicaca, and the ancient ruins of Peru were intentionally built or chosen as energetic beacons to anchor human consciousness to the stars. The physical and interdimensional contact reported today, whether through guides like Antrol, outer system bases on Ganymede, or local xendra portals, serves a unified purpose: gently awakening humanity from its terrestrial adolescence and preparing our collective consciousness for eventual harmonious integration into a vast interconnected cosmic community. To be continued. Watch and listen. Watch the cinematic video trailer. Listen to the full podcast now. Explore the archived Cosmic Awakening Volume 1, 1991, Peru, Journey into the Unknown. Sacred Valley of the Incas. Volume 2, Ascension 2012, The Golden Alchemy. Part 3, The First Contact and the Paranormal State. Join the journey. New episodes drop periodically. Each chapter delivers a tight, hyper-focused 10 to 30-minute exploration into the evolution of ufology, perfect for your daily plunge into decoding hidden messages from outer space, designed to raise awareness and foster human evolution. Subscribe to support your inner development. Thumbs up to help push our channel through the algorithm. Comment below. Share your thoughts on today's episode.